Hey guys, Brett here, connecting from UbiCentral, and today I have a very special guest with me. You probably already know by the title of this video, but for those of you who don't know who you are still, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey there, Assassins. It's Gabe Graziani, community developer on Assassin's Creed.
And before we get started with this interview, I just want to apologize for taking so long to do another one on the channel. I got really busy all of a sudden last year, but don't worry, I'm going to stick with the series this year. But again, thank you so much, Gabe, for taking the time out of your day to do this interview.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure.
Okay, so let's get into the questions here and learn more about the man behind UbiGabe. All right, so how did you become a community developer on Assassin's Creed?
Okay, so I actually started in the gaming industry as a game critic. I worked for a variety of different websites, but I wanted to move on with my career. And so I started looking around for different development studios and publishers that I might want to work for. And because I'd been reviewing games for a long time, I had a good idea of which games I liked. At the time, it was Prince of Persia 2008 and Rainbow Six Vegas 2 had just come out. So like I had my eye on Ubisoft Montreal, and fortunately, from all the work that I've been doing in the gaming industry, like as a critic, I was able to meet a bunch of PR people and stuff like that. I had some friends at Ubisoft, so I reached out to them and got an interview, which actually turned into like a bunch of interviews, like 6 interviews, I think, in total. At the end of which I actually didn't get the job, which was a huge bummer, honestly, because I was super into it, but the job actually went to Amar Azazia, who is head of content now on Assassin's Creed. So you might recognize him. He's been tweeting a bunch about the movie lately and stuff.
I'm getting hyped for the movie.
For sure. So I was bummed about that, but I went on doing my game critic thing, and they sent me to Tokyo Game Show, which was awesome. But while I was there, I got a call from Ubisoft saying, "Hey, look, we actually have another opening that has arrived, and you were like next in line. Are you still interested in the position?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I am. But I need to come home from Tokyo first." So yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy. Like, as at the time I lived in San Francisco, or rather Oakland, which is right next door, in California. And all the interviews were talking about, like, somebody mentioned, like, you know how cold it is in Montreal, right?
Yep.
And my thing was, no, I have no idea how cold it is there because I live in California. Like, I don't have any concept of how cold it could possibly be there. But I do love going snowboarding. Like, I do that all the time, so I can't imagine. I know what cold weather is like. It didn't really prepare me for this, but... But I don't know. I've been here for 7 years now, so I'm pretty used to it. I love it. It's funny because all the people here get really angry over the winter time and the snow and stuff, and I still find it enchanting like an idiot.
Well, that's actually like pretty interesting because I personally didn't even know how you got like where you were today. I just always knew you as just a community developer. I didn't know like you were in games journalism before you got hired.
Yeah, before I was UbiGabe, I was Gabe Spy on GameSpy.
Okay, and you said that you're a community developer, but people might not actually know there's a difference between a community manager and a community developer. Do you want to touch a little on that?
Yeah, I think some of it's sort of specific to Ubisoft, and the way we name this stuff has always been a little bit different, and I like to think that it's because we've taken like a more focused approach to how we interact with community. So, and actually those are 2 like now official titles at Ubisoft. A community developer focuses on generating like a plan for community engagement and an overall strategy on a per brand basis. So like for Assassin's Creed or Far Cry, or any other game that we might have, Rainbow Six. So that's a community developer has to like generate the whole plan. A community manager then executes that plan in addition to being the sort of boots on the ground in terms of interacting with fans, interacting with players, and getting that feedback together, coordinating with customer support. So the the comm dev kind of sets the tone and the objectives for the team overall, and then the community managers work with the comm devs to execute across the campaign, as it were.
Yeah, and I would have to say that is kind of like more towards Ubisoft, because before I was in the community, like I was following Halo and there was just the one community manager, and then I went to Ubisoft, more specifically Assassin's Creed, and then yeah, I saw that there's a community developer and community manager, and I just thought for a while that they're the same thing, but they're actually kind of two different things. But you said you've worked on the series, or well, at Ubisoft for 7 years now. Could you say what projects you've been a part of?
Yeah, sure. So when I started, they called me franchise guy. They wanted to put me on all the different franchises, or rather like third party kinds of things. So I started. I shadowed a gentleman named Chris Easton, who was a comm dev at the time on Splinter Cell Conviction, just to get trained up for like, I don't know, 6 months or whatever. But yeah, he's the one who's responsible for the infamous Keyboard Sam video, and I'm not sure if people remember that. But it was.
I actually do. I could put it in the description if I find it again.
It's so funny because he actually got in a ton of trouble. The team was so mad at him for that. Because they're just like, Splinter Cell's a serious game, and what are you doing? This is so dumb. And it's like, I don't know, people really liked it. It got a lot of views. Like, he's doing his job. But then, so I didn't really do any work on that game though. Like, I just sat on the sidelines watching how the job was done. But so my first project, I had two at the same time. I had Shaun White's Snowboarding 2, which I believe is called Shaun White World Stage, and then which was exclusive to the Wii. And then I also worked on James Cameron's Avatar the game. Which was it was a pretty crazy project to work on because there was so much secrecy. We couldn't talk about what we were working on with anyone, and the floor that the team was working on was completely cordoned off. Like, there were all the doors had like electronic key locks, and it was a ridiculous amount of security. And part of the reason was because on that floor we had like a direct like internet connection to the servers that James Cameron and his team were using to make the movie. So it was incredible to work on a project like that, but it was also like maddening because it would just seem like such a big deal, and you were always afraid that like you were gonna get hacked or something like that, or there's gonna be some kind of crazy.
That would be
like
the worst.
Yeah, it was really crazy. It was really crazy. It was a fun first project to have. And then after that, I worked on Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. And after that, they moved me on to Assassin's Creed 2, the PC release.
And were you like a community developer on it at the time?
Yeah, well, so being a community developer on Assassin's Creed 2 for PC didn't really involve a whole lot of work. It was already done, and everybody loved it. It was really easy to just come in, and the thing that was really challenging, I think, for me was we had at the time we had a thing called Uplay Help, where we just have gameplay videos of the entire walkthrough of the game. I don't know if you could still go and look at them, those videos, but if you do, there's one for James Cameron's Avatar the game that has an entire gameplay walkthrough that's me playing it.
Did you actually commentate or no?
No, because we weren't. That wasn't the objective. Like we weren't supposed to talk to anybody. It's just straight up playing through. We cut out all the cutscenes because we figured that we didn't want to have any spoilers. But yeah, and then I'm trying to remember. I think I might have replayed some of the missions. Because Amar had played all the original Assassin's Creed 2 missions for Uplay Help and posted videos, and then I played a few of them, I think. I don't know. But yeah, that was basically all I did with AC2, and then we had to start on planning for Brotherhood right away.
So you said for Assassin's Creed 2 PC there really wasn't a community, but I'm guessing Brotherhood, by the time it released, it was like the series and franchise was a lot bigger.
Yeah, well, it's funny actually because I remember distinctly like coming onto the project and Amar like doing the handoff, and which wasn't like a huge deal. I mean, I remember we had 165,000 fans on Facebook, which was a lot at the time, at least for us, anyways. Like it was more than I had on Prince. No, it was about equal to what I'd had on Prince of Persia. I think we had like 200,000, 300,000 fans on Prince of Persia. Prince of Persia was huge, so there were a bunch of fans on it. But then. But yeah, so Amar gave me some handoff documents. He's like, "Oh, you got to work with this guy Esco Blades. You got to work with D Nuke. These people are really active in the community. Like, so he was telling me about all that stuff, and it was kind of nuts because I mean, I had help too on Brotherhood in particular. I wasn't there by myself. There was also Lee Kuo, who was a writer on what was he? He was on Rainbow Six Siege. This is his most recent writing credit. He's done some writing for Telltale Games. He wrote on Far Cry 3, and I want to say he wrote on Far Cry 4 as well. There's so many, but yeah,
Yeah.
We worked on Brotherhood together with Masao Kobayashi, who was our boss at the time. And yeah, I remember distinctly because we had 165,000 fans on Facebook, and I put in our plan by launch, we're going to hit 500,000 fans. And everybody thought I was nuts. Like, I remember being on a call with our CRM team, the Customer Resource Management team, I think is what they're called. So they send out all those emails with all the stats and things to people. Among many, many other things. I don't want to diminish their job at all. But I remember being on a call with them, and Masao had said, like, he said our targets or whatever, and one of the guys was just like, 500,000, that's nuts. And Masao's like, yeah, I don't know who came up with those numbers. That's ridiculous. We're not going to. But we did. Well, we did by the end of the year. By launch, we were at 482,000 fans. So I feel like
still huge though.
Got close. We got really, really close.
Yeah.
I felt vindicated.
And earlier you kind of mentioned like Amar's like look at some community members, and you mentioned like Esco Blades, and that kind of ties into this question: what is it like working on a franchise such as Assassin's Creed? Because I've been in a lot of other communities as well, and no other community is this dedicated to a game.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Well, it's funny. Like, what is it like working on Assassin's Creed? It's so many things all at the same time. Like, it's exhilarating to be able to work on something so big and beloved, but also terrifying because it feels like it's such a big deal that you can't make mistakes.
Yeah, that's totally understandable.
So, I mean, and you know, it's like so humbling to work with such talented artists, like to be surrounded at all times by a team that's working so hard and like they're so good at their job. Like I honestly can't help but be grateful every day I get to step foot through the door and walk onto the dev floor, because it's amazing and phenomenal, but also terrifying.
So you said you worked on a lot of Assassin's Creed games. So this is a tough question, I already know, but what's your favorite Assassin's Creed game, and who is your favorite assassin?
Oh, jeez. Okay. So my favorite game, I think, is going to be a toss-up between Brotherhood and Black Flag. Before Black Flag came out, I think it would have been a much easier to say, like, oh, Brotherhood. Not just because it was like the first game that I worked on, although I'm sure that's part of it, but also because it added so much new stuff, like, and they did it in such a short amount of time, like between like adding in the parachute and multiplayer and like doing the entirety of Rome.
That's true.
It was a crazy experience, and And yeah, I mean, I love the game. Like that was where, like with Cesare, like was such a good villain, and the glyph puzzles were really good. Oh God, it was great. And the cliffhanger ending. Oh my God. Okay.
Now I want to go play it again.
Yeah, yeah. No, well, I just started playing Revelations the other night again on PC and was just like, oh man, this game's crazy.
The
Uh,
graphics still hold up for
they,
that game.
I feel like they scaled really well with the power of the PCs, like getting more and more beefy. I'm like, man, this thing looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
But favorite assassin, I think I would say, is Aveline.
Oh, I was expecting Ezio.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you would think, but he's such the easy answer. We've seen so much in
Yeah,
life, and I do love Ezio, but I think Aveline is my favorite, um, just because I think she's a fantastic character. I really like spending time with her. I adore her accent. Maybe that's a terrible thing for me to say. Like maybe that's super like, just like I don't know. It's not an especially like tangible reason.
you're
Just
fine.
say it.
It's all personal opinion.
Yeah, yeah, no, but that's just it. It's uh, like yeah, no, and I love her. I love her like crazy hat that she wears. Like out of all the assassins, she has this weird tricorn hat. That's like it's a little Hatham. Like I don't know, it's a little piratey. It's so crazy. Her character design is phenomenal, and she has a whip, which is an exceptionally cool weapon, I think.
Well, that's actually a pretty good answer because, like I said, I was expecting Ezio, so it's good that you didn't go the easy route. But going back to the community again, out of all the events last year, what were some of your favorites? Because I know Montreal Comic Con you guys went to for the first time. So could you tell us some of your favorite events from last year?
Yeah, well, I mean, you nailed it. Montreal Comic Con, I think, was definitely my favorite event from this last year, which admittedly was a year full of really exciting events. I'm super excited at the degree to which Ubisoft, as a corporation, has embraced the concept of community. The Star Players program is huge for a person like me who is constantly working, trying to get the community involved. So to have that level of endorsement, like all the way from the CEO of the company, say like, no, this is an important thing and we need to support it. And so we create a program like Star Players where we bring community members to E3. We have interviews with them. We give them the same access that the press gets, sometimes better. We bring people to, yeah, the Uplay Lounge. That to me, when they started doing the Uplay Lounge, it was I think 3 years ago. Still nobody does it. Nobody really does a thing like that at E3, where they're just like, hey, come and see our E3 presentation in Los Angeles. Like, come and see it. Because E3, of course, is a trade show and it's predominantly there for industry people and stuff like that. And I understand the value of that and I understand the necessity for that. But as someone who works with a community, working all the time and knowing how important that is to people is, to have Ubisoft offer the Uplay Lounge to people is phenomenal. But, and still, none of those things are my favorite thing. My favorite thing was Montreal Comic Con, because it's the first time I think that our community team was actually the point team for an event. We got to do things that we'd never been able to do before. We learned so much from having all of that responsibility, and it was also like hanging out with community is my favorite part of the job, hands down. Like just getting my favorite thing in the world is just to hang out with people and talk about video games. So for my job to be sometimes going to an event and hanging out with people and talk about Assassin's Creed, which is a game that I personally love and would play whether or not I was working on it. It's everything I wanted to do. so yeah, I mean, Montreal Comic Con was extremely important, I think, for our team and how we interact with our community, and it doesn't always have to be a huge show like San Diego Comic-Con or E3 or one of these like marketing beat pulse point kind of places where we can have an impact and interact with our community.
And I have to say, last year, like, it was the first time I've ever went to a gaming convention. It was PAX East. And, like, you guys weren't there officially. Like, you didn't have a booth set up because at the time Syndicate wasn't announced, but Andy was still there and Justin. And that was, like, the first time I actually got to meet, you know, Ubisoft employees in person. It's just an amazing experience. So if there's any of you watching that are, like, thinking about going to an event, whether it's, like, really small or, you know, it could be PAX Prime or anything like that, I think you should definitely go just at least once to experience it, because there's nothing like it.
Yeah, for sure.
It was awesome. Like, I'm just, like, saving up to go to PAX Prime this year again, because it was just so much fun.
Yeah, PAX Prime is incredible. PAX Prime is so big. It's so big, and there's so much stuff going on. And I think the PAX shows in general, they're 100% community oriented. To the point that I remember when they started doing PAX, and back when I was still a game critic, like you have to go to E3, you have to go to Gamescom, you have to go to all these different events and like cover them because their games are, you know, gonna be there, and you have to do your job and write about the games. It was difficult to convince people to let you go to PAX because it was for community. So what were you gonna write about? But now it's gotten so big and so crazy, but because it has those community roots, it's such an exciting atmosphere.
Yeah, again, I can't stress this enough. Like, if you're thinking about going, just go. Like, you will love it.
Yeah, I've never been to Rooster Teeth. I want to try and get to that one.
Oh yeah, RTX. Yeah, I've heard good things about that. Honestly, any gaming event, like, you're gonna have a ton of fun if you're a gamer.
It's so true. It's so true.
But talking about, like, favorite things, what was your favorite thing about Assassin's Creed Syndicate? And this can be a new character or a new feature that was introduced.
Evie Fry. Bam.
I expected that. No, just mic drop, just nothing more.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I love Jacob, and his wisecracking are like some of my favorite. He has my favorite lines in the game.
Who's a good horse?
Yeah, you. My favorite though is when he tells Aberline he'll look for a very ugly woman with like the beard. It looks rather like a policeman.
Oh yeah.
That is my absolute favorite line in the whole game. But no, definitely Evie. I mean, she demonstrates some really important priorities for the team, for the brand, and I personally believe in our very diverse and creative community. Like, there's so many things I think that are really great about Syndicate, but one of my favorite things, hands down, has got to be Evie. Like, her character like breaks so many molds. Victoria does a phenomenal job voicing her and providing like it. We just did a podcast actually with Loomer where she was talking about the performance capture, and they had to like. She mentioned that she didn't realize how often she rolled her eyes until she saw some of it coming back, until she saw, like, you know, some of the playback and stuff. And what's funny about that, I think, is that in a lot of the cases you don't necessarily get that because she has her back to the camera.
Yeah.
But it comes through in her performance, and I think that's like, for so many reasons, definitely Evie is my favorite part of that.
I was watching a little bit of that podcast. I didn't make it that far, but I'll leave it in the description. But one thing that really stood out to me, like, I kind of skipped around and I saw there was a part where you were talking about how involved she is within the community. And it's actually really true for a voice actress like herself. Like, I haven't seen really any voice actors or actresses go, like, and communicate with the community like she has.
Yeah, honestly, both she and Paul are unbelievable. I mean, Dan Janot, who played Arnaud, was really active, and I mean, over the years, like certainly like Cass Anvar and Roger Craig Smith, who played Ezio, Cass Anvar playing Altair in Revelations. They've all been super, super active, but I've never seen anything like Paul and Victoria. They're a force of nature, wherever they are. Like but on Twitter, man, they they go nuts. They go crazy. Like, and it's funny too because they have such a crazy sibling rivalry. It's like a thing between the two of them of who can be the most interactive and engaging online. It's hilarious.
It's really good for the community too, the competition. And this actually kind of ties into the next thing because Andy and I don't know if you've seen it, but on Twitter we've been like competing in Chronicles India, like
No,
trying
I
to get
have.
the fastest time.
I
Yeah,
have seen that. I don't even understand what kind of crazy witchcraft, what strange alchemy you guys are working. Because you saw me play on the live stream. I didn't even make the par time. I didn't even make 2 minutes 30, and you guys are like,
we're at like 115 or something. Like,
what is even happening? Like I almost replied with Assassin's Creed on Twitter, just like, and Andy was like, "No, you have to do it. You have to do it." Just in all caps, like, what is even happening right now? Because I do not understand. 1 minute 15 seconds to complete that. It's
there
crazy.
was someone else today who just beat the score, and he got like 1 minute 8 seconds. But yeah, it's insane. But
I know
uh,
Andy sends them to me. We have an
Yeah.
internal system, and he sends them all to me.
I was like playing nonstop for days. I haven't even finished India yet because I was just going on and trying to beat my score.
Oh, we failed. What have we
Yeah.
done?
But can we expect like more Assassin's Creed live streams in the near future? Because if you've missed that recent live stream with Chronicles India, it is just so amazing. Like you have failed the city. That was like my favorite part of it. But, yeah. Can we expect more in the near future?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, it's funny because last year we were doing 3 live streams a week. There were 2 from Montreal and then 1 from North Carolina. Justin, UbiJoker. Or wait, I think actually he's UbiJustin now. He was Joker.
Yeah, I think yeah, he's UB Justin now.
Yeah. UbiJustin would do our community podcasts or community live streams on Fridays, and then Andy and I did I had a Rogue one on Wednesday, and then we had the Thursday. We had a Thursday one too for Unity. But yeah, no, we should be doing the plan is to have at least 1 per month, because we have some things happening, of course, next month. So yeah, you should be able to expect more. I don't know if we'll ever be able to do the weekly cadence that we were doing previously. But yeah, for sure you'll be able to see more live streams. Like it's like podcasts. It's my favorite stuff to do.
Yeah, that's really good to hear because as a viewer, it's always fun just to watch what happens and everything like that.
I'm really glad you liked it because it's funny. Like I'm such a nervous wreck before we do live streams.
I can understand why. It is pretty scary.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good to hear that people enjoy them. I practiced so much for my level, the level that I had to do in this last one. I was there the whole morning. I didn't leave any time for Andy to practice at all.
Andy is the one, and he ended up dying the most too.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he chose a very difficult chapter. He chose it. He
did come back at the end though with the speed run.
Well, yeah, no, and I mean, I'm like Andy is much better at video games than I am. That's just truth. Like my strategy for playing Rainbow Six Siege is to get behind Andy. So yeah, I don't have any shame in losing to Andy in any video game capacity. He's much better.
And on to the last question. What Ubisoft game are you looking most forward to this year that's been confirmed?
That is a rough one. Because there's 2 that I am really looking forward to. I mean, I'm really super looking forward to Far Cry Primal. I very much want to tame a panther. I have a thing actually, like in games where if there's like any game's quality for me is increased by like 1,000% if I can have like an animal buddy. So Far Cry Primal looks like it will definitely like scratch that itch and then some. But if I have to pick one that I'm most looking forward to, it would definitely be The Division. Um, like I, it's
You're speechless.
yeah, no, I mean, well, they just released the trailer that goes through like
Yeah.
the basic gameplay arc, and it just it's does all the things that I wanted to do, in like the craziest like situation scenario. I'm looking so forward to, being able to customize my loadout and being able to work to build my like headquarters up, and I'm not looking forward to the dark zone. Not even a little bit. I'm not ever going to go there unless I have to.
You have to get good loot.
That's fine.
Just go behind Andy. Let him do all the work.
But that's just it, though. I could be behind Andy until the very end when he turns around. And he's like, "I'm gonna have to take your stuff."
No, what you do is just follow behind him, let him take all the stuff he gets from enemies, and then right before he's about to put it on the chopper, just kill him.
That's only gonna work once.
Yeah, just once. But I mean, just make sure it's a good time when you do it.
If you shoot at the devil's back, you best not miss.
I hope he doesn't watch this. But thank you so much for doing this interview again. And for those who don't know where to find you, could you tell them like your Twitter, Facebook, maybe YouTube channel?
Sure. I think actually Twitter is the one that I'm most active on. The other ones I'm kind of just squatting. But yeah, it's twitter.com/UbiGabe or @UbiGabe, I think is probably the easiest way. UbiGabe.
Yeah, I'll put that in the description. And also, I'll put the Assassin's Creed Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram. You guys have like everything. So
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, if you have any questions for Gabe, just tweet him. He always responds like, Gabe, you're the best.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, thank you all so much for watching. As always, to stay up to date on everything Ubisoft, make sure to subscribe right here on UbiCentral.